to stream? No,
You
totally
know,
not. Totally not.
you know what they say, third time's a charm.
Totally not, man. Totally not, man. How are we? How we been? How we been?
We've been good.
We've been good? Yeah, I hope
Yeah,
we've been
yeah.
good.
I've had my good times, just got done with what I would refer to Hell Week.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, living it, living the dream,
Yep. Well,
living the dream.
I've been shouting mentally at a bunch of at a bunch of streaming softwares for the past it's
20
just,
minutes,
it's just
30 minutes, 35 minutes.
just okay, thank you, man, dude.
Okay.
I love some softwares, but I don't like certain software. Oh man. Anyway, let's just Ant-Man and the Wasp. This is the third time we've attempted to do this. Let's just jump into it.
Hey, let's give since those who were here already heard my opinion or some of it, how about we get your opinion first, and then I'll kind of try and give mine, but give some more different insights into
the
it.
people that are here, genuinely, props, hats off to you, because man, the amount of fucking difficulties I've just gone through, man, Anyway, Mike's already given his opinion to the people watching live, but I'll give mine. I'll give mine since you already heard Mike's. But I'm being completely 100% genuine here. I'm not big on it. Out of 5, I'd give it about a 2.5. Like that's how not on it I am. It's just there's so much wrong with it, but yet there's bits of greatness in it as well from time to time, but there's still so much that is so bad about it. The only saving grace is Paul Rudd being Paul Rudd. That is the only good thing about it. Paul Rudd doing Paul Rudd
disagree
stuff.
wholheartedly.
But there's like some
Michael
other...
Pena.
Oh, but yeah, Michael Pena as well. But like, that's about it. Other than that, it's just very. It's like the first Ant-Man movie. It's very forgettable. It's very forgettable. There's only certain moments that stand out, and they stand out because of Paul Rudd, and that's what makes it good.
So can I give my opinion and then
go ahead, man.
argument against that?
Go ahead.
So like when I went in, I kind of touched on this before. I go into Ant-Man movies not expecting a lot because, as you know, I'll give Kai this. What he said is true, and it is the movies are a bit forgettable, but I love them. I love them for it. I love how simple it is. They do a heist movie that it's the only Marvel movies that are doing a heist movie.
You see,
it feels like a fun summer flick.
No, it's not a heist movie. If Edgar Wright was writing it, it would totally be a heist movie. This isn't a heist movie. This is a Marvel movie with a heist in it. That's the first Ant-Man.
Nah. It's a double heist.
If Edgar Wright stayed on to direct that movie, then hell yeah, there would be a heist movie and a great superhero a heist movie with superhero stuff thrown in there. But this one is a superhero movie with heist stuff thrown in there. That's the first Ant-Man, which is what I feel like the second one is. It's a superhero movie with other stuff thrown in there. It's not even like you classify.
So are you gonna let me say my opinion or just interrupt me? Sorry. I listened through your basically belittling a movie I really enjoyed, and you're gonna love where I mark it as around movies that have came out this year, because you're very much going to disagree. But I really liked the relationships and the character building because they're unique. They're unique. It feels like, Ant-Man, you forget that Ant-Man is a character that fell into a life of crime because it was a necessity, and he just kind of, all of his people connected to him are still in this. So whereas all the other superheroes in the Marvel Universe seem to have, their money together and their shit together, and everything's going fine when things are good, Ant-Man is not. Like, everything is not going fine when things are good. Like, when things are off screen, Ant-Man is still kind of having like a difficult life. Like, and they've kind of changed it so now the what is it, the stepfather type character, the boyfriend of his child's mother, now likes him a lot. And in the first movie you could kind of tell that there was just this other guy type of mentality, and I liked how they built on that and changed that. But like, I think out of all of the characters in Marvel, you'd least want to be Ant-Man outside of his powers and stuff, because he just kind of got the shaft trying to do the right thing, and he's still recovering from it, and he's got the ankle bracelet and house arrest, which was quite honestly a really good deal for what happened. And I really liked the characterization. I liked how Pym, and it kills me that I keep forgetting her name. Hope, yeah, Hope. I like how those characters worked. I like the relationship because, you know, it feels like Hope has a very interesting relationship with freaking Paul Rudd's character, because like they both have this, you know, they're both learning, but she definitely comes from a background of being immersed in this stuff for a long time. So when, you know, Ant-Man went away to, you know, do this whole thing, and she says, well, if I was with you, you wouldn't have gotten caught. And I'm like, well, that's a great idea, but, you know, it's not like they don't know where he is or where he's from. But I liked the movie. I really enjoyed it. I liked how the characters moved around the movie. There were some problems with it, definitely. The whole time I'm trying to figure out who's actually the villain.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's fine. It's fine to have confusing villains, because, like, you can't give Marvel crap for having, oh, here's the villain, he does villain things. I wish they did more with their villains, and then get crap on them for also saying, oh, this villain wasn't really clear. Like, I'm good with having villains where you're like, who is the villain? Who is this person really bad, or is this person good? There's no one who's really evil in this film except this one-note villain
from
who
the
isn't
guy,
actually
the guy from Vice Principals.
I never saw.
You never saw the Southern guy.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, I once played a video game where there was legitimately no one who was evil. And, like, there was someone who was, or the only evil characters were middle management, where the top guy was trying to save the world for this group, and then the other guy was trying to save the world for a different group. So, like, the big bad evil guy eventually ended up helping the good guys because they were trying to save the world from this massive world-eating octopus, Autophagos. And
you see, look, I find that for a video game medium, that's fine, because a video game, you're supposed to have about like 8 to 12 hours of gameplay within your video game.
Try 40.
And, like, yeah, it can. Normal base rate is around 8 to 12 hours of gameplay within your game. And you have 8 to 12 hours to flesh out characters. In a movie, you have, like 2.5 maximum, and that's when general audiences will start losing interest in your movie. But
I mean, I will give you this: the character, like, all the things going on did take away from time that could be spent developing Wasp, and that's what I wanted more. Going out is, I enjoyed her character. I loved the way she moved and fought, and, like, I loved the action scenes in this movie, especially the fights against what was her name, Mirage, or the Ghost, and or Ava. And the whole time I'm thinking Ava Evangelion, and I'm like, wait, Ava, what? But I loved the way her character moved. Like, there was one thing I was pumped for going into this movie, and that was the fight scenes, because I loved how she phased in and fought and phased out. And they really captured that really well in the trailers, but like, it didn't get any better in the movie, and that kind of disappointed me. But like, you're right, the whole one note bad guy, like, I walked out of there and I thought to myself, if it was Captain America, that guy would have just gone through a jet engine. Like, that one note bad guy was a nobody. And Captain America has no problem killing nobodies. Like, in the Hydra base in Civil War, he literally kicks someone through a jet engine. And we're talking about him being some moral arbiter. And he's like, no, we can't take revenge. But I totally just, like, murdered someone, like, in one of the most gruesome ways ever by kicking them through a jet engine. And so, I thought it was really funny, and I enjoyed it. I didn't think, some of the humor felt a little forced, but not enough that it would take me out of the experience. Like, I didn't like the fact that every problem was caused by Paul Rudd in the movie. It felt like I didn't like the reason why they got caught is he gave the information to Lewis. I didn't like the fact that that's why they got caught, is he gave the information to Lewis. And then Lewis did his hilarious thing where he, talks really quick, and they have the other characters speak the lines at the same speed.
If that wasn't in the first one, then If that wasn't in the second one, then you're doing a disservice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, he is one of those characters. He's one of the few characters that I would say, like, he is a gem for the Ant-Man movies, but he really shouldn't move out of the Ant-Man movies. Like, I can sit here and say, you know what we need? We need Korg in the Avengers. But I'm like, no, we really don't. I just want to consistently see Korg in Thor. And I see Michael Pena. There's a Pena. There's a whatever over the N or E and I'm like, so yeah, the accent over that. And so I'm like, I love his character, but it's one of the cool things that make Ant-Man movies stand out and fun to go to and stuff like that. So I really liked it. I liked how the relationship evolved between Ant-Man and Wasp. I really enjoyed that. I loved the building. I loved that they were trying to steal a building the whole time and get it back. And like, the central plot was this building that would be worth billions of dollars just on its own, just on the fact that you could up and down make a building giant and move it, without the fact that there's all of this amazing technology in it. I picked up right away that the scientist, the black scientist who was an ex-partner, Pym's old partner, I picked up right away he was clearly not evil.
You see, this is where I don't get how you're liking this movie. You said that you liked the movie and you liked the relationships built within the characters, but you cannot remember characters' names.
I can't remember characters' names ever, especially when we're on a podcast. When we're talking quickly, I don't want to make mistakes.
Fair enough.
So I don't take characters' names.
Sorry, I've heard a lot of positives.
They only referred to him by names once.
Goliath. He's Goliath.
Yeah.
You see, there's just a lot of this movie that is just so fundamentally flawed that to me, it's so forgettable. It is so forgettable. There are good moments in it, I'll give it that, but there's not one scene where I walked away. I take that back. There is one scene that I enjoyed. There's not like a massive part. Like I walked away from Infinity War going, the stuff with the Guardians in space was amazing. I love that. The Wakanda fight, I love that. Walked away from Civil War, airport scene, everything in the airport was great. Walked away from the Winter Soldier, the whole highway battle, amazing. I'm walking away from Ant-Man and I'm going, yo, that montage of Paul Rudd being Paul Rudd at the start was pretty funny. And
by the way, that is parenting the best. Like that whole maze he makes and the whole thing in there is like cool. That. I need to applaud his ingenuity in that.
I really like the montage at the start where he's all what have you been doing for the past 2 years? Scott.
Yeah. and the ant playing Rock Band / Guitar Hero.
I lost it when he was reading The Fault in Our Stars and he's just crying on the bed. Oh my god.
Dude, I was trying to read the name of the book, but I couldn't. Or like when the kid, by the way, props to the kid being like the best partner in crime ever. Like that kid was a hero. Like I'm just gonna say it, and it might offend you, but that kid was more smooth and more helping the hero out and being exactly what the hero needed, exactly when the hero needed it, more than what's his name from Spider-Man, the guy in the chair. Yeah. Come at me, boy.
Oh, I agree. We have someone in the chat. Sorry.
Yeah.
But he wants us to spoil the post-credit scene. We'll get there, man.
Oh my gosh. I have something to say about the post-credit scene. Right, but the second post-credit scene you talked about, you're like, it's not important, but it's hilarious. And I'm like, yes. I loved it. So maybe they didn't take 50% of ants. Maybe they only took, 50% of humans.
No, I think a writer came out and confirmed that they took, Thanos took 50% of plants and animals as well. Okay.
Wait, why plants? That wouldn't make sense if they're trying to save the planet from...
I know, yeah, exactly. But I saw somewhere that someone said that. It could be completely false, but I saw something somewhere.
So,
my sources are legit, man. Don't at me.
Don't at me, bro. So, every time I see something like that, like, every time I see someone getting dusted, I'm just like, dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind.
So
and I'm just like, dude, Guardians of the Galaxy, when Peter Quill, Star-Lord, is disappearing, the fact that they don't have Dust in the Wind playing is absolutely just a disservice to what the Guardians are.
No, Avengers 4 needs to open up with Rocket with Awesome Mix Volume 2 and Dust in the Wind playing, just as a massive fuck you to the audience. But
yeah, it needs to be like how like Tony Stark handing the music player to Rocket, because Tony's like the only one that made it out of that area, or one of like 3
Nebula.
Out of the like 8. Yeah. 2 out of like the 7 people who were there, and just handing it to Rocket and be like, wait, you're a talking raccoon. Yeah, my Groot died. What's a Groot? Oh, no. Yeah, because he never met him. And but like, dude, I freaked out in the first post-credit scene when they disappeared and he was still in the realm.
So what happened for BT Mac in our chat here? So Scott goes into the quantum realm to get some quantum healing stuff. Janet Van Dyne, who's been saved from the quantum realm, she's outside, or in the normal universe, with Hank and Hope and herself, or Wasp. And he goes in there and they do a Scott, can you read us? Scott, and then he fakes him up by going, pretending that I died, but I'm actually alive, ha ha ha. He gets what he needs, and then he goes to turn big again, and he needs them to press a button to turn him big again. But then when he goes to turn big, it cuts to them, and they've all been dusted.
So, how he got out of the realm last time, the quantum realm. Oh, by the way, I loved the line, do you guys just put quantum in front of everything?
yeah.
I was just like, yes. Like I don't feel like they're doing service to the fact that Scott is actually really smart, but he's like technical smart. He's like fix-it smart rather than science smart.
He's street smart.
Like
he's street smart.
Well, like, he was fiddling around with the Ant-Man suit because, like, he understands a wiring. Like, because he was an engineer before he went all to this. He understands wiring and how things are supposed to work on, like, a basic level or even a complex level. But he doesn't understand the science behind all of these things, which makes sense, and it makes his character very interesting. But, like, sometimes I feel like they're playing him down as dumb when I'm like, he's not dumb. He's just not a scientist. Like, science and engineering are two very different things. And so, like, how he got out of the quantum realm before was he used one of the enlargers and he put it in his belt and that enlarged him out. So he doesn't have that anymore. And unless he kept one on him, and then he can... Because I imagine that if he was going back into the quantum realm, they would have put something like that back in there. So, like, okay, if everything goes wrong, you can just come out like you did last time. Here's how we're going to do it, though. So I hope that's what it does. But the one thing that made me mad is that Wasp wasn't still there. Which I understand they're trying to make this problem. But my gosh, could we trade Hope for... whatever, Scarlett Johansson's character, because Black Widow, she has had like 5 movies she's been in to develop her character, and we understand who she is, and she's gone through arcs and all this stuff, and she is just not that interesting of a character to me anymore. Like, she's done her arcs. Has done her arcs.
In order for Black Widow to be an interesting character again, we're gonna have to go back to when she was in the Red Room prequel, how Hawkeye met her. That's what's interesting, and that's what people want to see, and I think that's what the Black Widow movie is going to be about. I hope it is. But yes, look,
so the Black Widow movie is confirmed, right? Because I've only heard talks about it.
I think there's a director attached to it, but Edgar Wright was attached to Ant-Man, and then that all went to shit.
Yeah, well, I just feel like I would love to have traded her out because I love what Hope brings to it, what Wasp brings to the team, and what Wasp brings to the relationship with Ant-Man and all that. But at the same time, I kind of understand because no superhero is coming in whole to Avengers 4. Like, no entire superhero team is unaffected by this. Like, Iron Man... Didn't they take War Machine, or was he not dusted? He was not dusted. So Iron Man's coming in whole, but like
Pepper probably got dusted. We just didn't see that on.
Yeah, but it's Pepper. Like, let's be real. Pepper.
Like, do they really want to get what's her face back? What is
Gwyneth Paltrow?
Yeah, do they really want Gwyneth Paltrow back? Like, seriously,
like that. The honest truth is, like, Gwyneth Paltrow played a big part in 2 and 1, but 2 was a garbage movie.
Yep.
2 wasn't great.
2 was an extended version of the end credit scene of the first one.
And wait, no, 3 was the one she played a huge part in.
She didn't do fuck all in 3.
She was the one who was poisoned in 3, and then she became...
She got strapped to a chair and then, like, put an Iron Man arm on. Like, Tony was the one out there doing all the real shit.
Yeah. But, like, when you compare her to, the love interests of other characters, she did a lot in that movie. But the thing is, her character has never compelled me. Her character has never really been like, ooh, I want to see more of this character. Whereas, like, Natalie Portman's character I really liked, but they just kind of dropped her off the world, I'm guessing for just keeping things like, okay, this isn't the direction we want to go in anymore.
Yeah, no one actually gave a shit about Jane Foster.
I did.
Dude, she was the worst part of Thor: The Dark World, and that's saying a lot, because that movie was fucking dreadful.
But she was a great part of Thor 1. Like, I loved that characterization.
I loved the dynamic within the first one, but then it won't work anymore.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know. I'd always like to think if you got something good and very right in one movie, you should try to build it up. And maybe they did, and two, it just didn't work. And they're like, listen, we got all of these Asgardians that are ridiculous, and we can do things with them that are ridiculous. And we want to build them up instead, and that's great and all that. But yeah. I really enjoyed Ant-Man, and you know, I would honestly say for enjoyment, it wasn't the best movie this year, but I probably just sat and enjoyed it more than Black Panther, because Black Panther had so much hype going in that the bar was just so high for it. And Ant-Man and Wasp didn't really have hype going in. And I was just like, yeah, I enjoyed it.
For me with Black Panther, I need to rewatch it, and I feel as though if I keep rewatching it, I'll appreciate it more for what it is, the more I watch it. But look, you've talked a lot about how great this movie is. I really want to start talking negatives and get your opinion on them.
Sure.
My first major gripe with the film is, we mentioned this before, but the villains, man. I was genuinely confused. So, like, one villain, Ghost is there, which I'm like, alright, cool, he's the villain. And then there was this, you know, the mob dude at the start, and I was like, oh yeah, cool. He's just here to just, you know, to add a bit of conflict for this scene. But no, he shows up again, and I'm like, well, is he supposed to be the central villain, or is he just a secondary? It suffers from what I like to call the Sony conundrum. And that's what Sony like to do.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Too many villains in the one movie. Spider-Man 3 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like, literally, Spider-Man 3, you have it starts off with New Goblin, and then you get Sandman, and then you get Venom, and you don't know who's with who. And then there's too many, and you just get confused. Amazing Spider-Man 2, it starts off with Electro, but then Green Goblin comes in, and then at the very end you have Rhino. I mean, Rhino is not really a villain, but, you know, whatever. But, like, he comes back from the start. And it's just very confusing, and which is what I feel like Ant-Man and the Wasp suffers from. You have Ghost, and then she's this stereotypical Marvel, I'm not a villain, I'm just misunderstood. Because Marvel learned their lesson about what not to do with villains, and that's make them one beat like Ronan or Malekith from The Dark World, and, you know, actually have a bit of fun with it. Or not fun, but like have a bit of depth to the character. They sort of took the villain as the own hero of their story, but they're doing it with every single character, which is a bit annoying, seeing as though we get 3 Marvel movies a year, pretty much.
Okay. Like, so can I speak to that point?
You got Killmonger, you got Thanos, and now you got Ghost.
Can I speak to that point first?
Go ahead.
Because, you know, I want to be able to talk about each point, and you talked about the villain. And, you know, I enjoyed Ghost probably more than I should have for the fight scenes, for the way the character moves. And those have nothing to do with character. Those have to do with animation. Those have to do with special effects. Those have to do with all of these things. So the truth is, if I take all those things out of that villain just doesn't seem interesting at all. And so I'm going to be honest, I probably give that villain more of a pass than I should, because I like the suit. I like how everything moves. Like, the character looks unique.
Oh, I really love sorry, just to cut in. I love the special effects of Ghost, and I love the fact that, like, you can see where she's been, but then you can also see where she's going as well, because some atoms are like already there, and then like, no, we're gonna pull back, and it's pretty cool. It's cool.
I mean, and then the other thing that they do a little differently with her is they give her Goliath as kind of her person who's helping her, and he is not a spineless bad guy. He is a good guy who's had a falling out with the main group, and so Goliath is trying to help her, but at the same time he draws a line in the sand, and he's like, no, I promised I would help you, but not if you bring the kid into it. And he stands firm at that, and he doesn't just get intimidated down. And that was something we haven't seen. So, like, their relationship was different, and I thought that part was good, but I can totally see what you're talking about when you say, like, well, there's just too many villains.
I was just
And the
confused,
other
which I don't like when I'm watching a movie.
the
Like, I like to
the other one note villain, because you mentioned that,
the
was,
southern guy from Vice
yeah,
Principals.
yeah, I just, you know what, I kind of know what you're saying, and I get it, and I didn't really like him either. And like I said before, if it was Captain America, that character is not like a big enough character that he would be able to walk off what Cap would do to him. Like, Cap would knock him the hell out. And all of this happened in like 2 days. And he would not be getting back up and ready to go again after he went toe to toe with Cap. But the thing of it is Wasp is not a big, strong character. Like, I mean, I understand, but even in the first movie, they talk about holding it back. So I'm like, dude, he could have been dead a long time ago. And they just decided not to do that. Like, after he came back the second time and was problematic, dude, I would have broken a leg or something, because it's like, dude, this guy is just getting in the way of saving your mother. There are things you can do that he will heal from, but will keep him from like doing anything, like dislocate a shoulder or two or something like that. I don't know. And you're right about the villains. It was pretty like crowded and confusing, but I honestly liked how those two characters, how Ghost and Goliath, ended up working together and being really against each other. And one of the other things I really enjoyed about the movie was Ghost. So the way that they did this, and this has more to do with the fighting, is something I caught right away, and we talked about this in the past, is guys don't fight female villains. Like, they don't just go right at them. And I've always asked why, because I'm like, listen, if a female villain like Hela is the most dangerous thing to keep you from your goal, you can't hold back, otherwise you're dead. Yeah. And so she comes in and she starts beating up Wasp, and Ant-Man jumps in right away and no hesitation just starts fighting her. But at that time, you don't know it's a her. Like, they don't really give that out, but like everything about the character design, I just assumed that was a girl because of the character design.
I knew because of trailers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember if I saw or not if Ghost was a girl, but like just the character design screamed, like female to me. So I was just like, yeah, well, how could you not?
Away is the hood. The hood, I saw the hood, instantly think of Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen, just another Spider-Man.
Oh, don't you... Dude, Nicolas Cage has been cast into the Spider-Verse.
As Spider-Gwen?
No, as Spider-Man Noir.
That sounds... Okay, so now I want to see Into the Spider-Verse. I want to see it.
I also want to go see... when I watched Ant-Man and the Wasp, there was a couple trailers that looked good. I saw Christopher Robin again, and I cried a little inside.
I didn't see that trailer in there, and I'm...
Dude,
we are going to... We are going to review...
Oh, hell yeah.
Christopher Robin.
But we're also going to review Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
So we should get back on things you didn't like about the movie, so I can properly talk about the same topic. Now, what's the next thing you didn't like about, besides the villains, basically?
Besides the villains, I feel... To me, I don't know how to put it into words. Just give me, let me have a little bounce around. Villains were a main problem. Scott was annoying. Scott was very annoying. I mean, I know he's trying to be good and all, but the world is at danger, and he's like, guys, I've got to get home, I'm coming home from house arrest. I'm like, dude, I understand that you will get more prison time if you are caught being Ant-Man, but what's more important, saving the world? What? That's another thing. That is another thing. They're not trying to save the world in this movie. There's no big threat that'll bring global destruction. No, they're trying to not get one person killed, which I also felt was a bit of a letdown. Like with Civil War, there was something to end the world. Baron Zemo is out there, and he has control over Bucky. In Winter Soldier, it's literally Hydra is going to destroy the world.
Well, that's one of the things I like about the Ant-Man with the second movie is the stakes weren't ungodly high.
And again with the first Ant-Man, there's the Yellow Jackets mass production going to Hydra. There is still like some sort of global catastrophe that needs to be stopped. There's nothing there. There is absolutely nothing. They're just trying to save Janet from dying. Ghost isn't going to go out and she's not murdering innocent people. She's not going out and like, you fix me or I will blow up Mount Everest. Like it's nothing like that. But there was no stakes. There was no stakes. So I wasn't invested in anything that was happening.
But one of the problems with being in the universe with all of the Avengers is if you have stakes, you're going to, like, the question always becomes, dude, why didn't you pull in someone else? Like, the thing is, there's no way Ant-Man would pull in other people or ask Falcon to come help, because this is literally just saving the life of his lady friend, his lady friend's mother.
There's also a reason why he couldn't call in anyone. It's because superheroes are illegal, and at this point, Falcon and everything are on the run.
Yeah, but like the thing is, so were they for half of the movie. Like I liked the dynamic,
run, but they weren't like hidden on the run like Cap is. Just before Infinity War.
Two of them were. Two out of the three characters were. Hope and Pym were on.
They were hidden in plain sight. Hidden in plain sight.
I mean, but like I thought the whole why they were also in trouble was kind of thin. It's like, well, they aided. It's like, no. Literally, all he would need to say is, "Dude, I stole the suit. They had nothing to do with it." That bugged me. That bugged me that they were on the run because they did nothing wrong.
I can understand, because if you have Hank Pym out here and he can make another Ant-Man suit and he can make another hero and heroes are illegal, then like I understand why.
Well, the Sokovia Accords are the stupidest thing
Sokovia.
Ever. Exactly.
Sokovia,
so stupid. I confidently said the name wrong. The Sokovia Accords are the most stupid part of the whole thing. It's like, well, we can't have heroes doing this because when heroes tried to save the world, they got people killed. And then you're like, okay, but if the heroes weren't there, what would have happened? Well, everyone would have died.
I know. And it's stupid.
It's like stupid. People and government bodies being stupid to the absolute most illogical sense. Like, if you're trying to fix the problem and you're not fixing the problem, like, that is one of my pet peeves. Like, you're putting crazy, regulations in outlying heroes, and you're like, okay, so, but what if this happens again? What if Loki comes again? And then you only have, let's say, Avengers 1 basically happens again, and you only have Iron Man and Spider-Man and you don't even have Spider-Man.
Are you only saying people who sign the Accords? Because that's Iron Man, that's Vision. Like, you got a fair amount of people there.
Like, you don't even have Spider-Man because, like, I'm surprised they're not hunting him down because nobody knows who Spider-Man is, but everyone does. Like, no one's like, hey, there's this superhero. That's but
something I sort of don't get about Homecoming. If it's set up to Civil War, did he sign the Accords? And
no, hell no. He's a kid. He's just a kid. Yeah, Think of the kids. But the thing is, nobody knows that. Nobody knows he's a kid.
I
or
hope
like
Spider-Man 2 addresses something like that. And I hope, like, if they bring J. Jonah Jameson in, that's one of the reasons that he hates him. He's like, he's illegal. He's a superhero, and he's illegal.
yeah. Oh, by the way, I heard they didn't have him in there because they couldn't think of having anyone but Simmons be J. Jonah Jameson.
Dude, and
like, he was so perfect.
J.K. Simmons has said he'd come back.
Yes.
Like, he fully said, like, I'm happy being Commissioner Gordon, and I will come back for being J. Jonah Jameson. Just get in touch with his agent, Marvel.
Like, oh my gosh, J.K. Simmons is so good.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen Whiplash?
Dude, Whiplash is the best.
Like, he is great at making just a mean character. Like,
so likable.
Like, you know, the thing is, you hate him, but he just does it so well, and
you
like, there are some people...
You need to see more of him.
There are some people that lost their... Like, that have trouble being that hateable character because they're worried about how that character will be portrayed or what that will say about them, and he doesn't. Okay, so we've got a question from Lost Animation.
Yes, we do. I've been trying to segue into that.
And he said, do you feel Wasp was robbed of the spotlight because of her gender? No. Honestly, I really don't. No. Because, like, she took that spotlight and she was very good in it. And she, like, the entire movie, she never made a mistake. Like, let's just get that out there. She never made a mistake. She was never made look bad. So you can't really say that, oh, she was robbed of the spotlight because of her gender. No, Paul Rudd is a hilarious character. And the first movie was called Ant-Man. So, like, she comes in and she very much splits the spotlight. But this is really still about Ant-Man. Like, it wasn't Ant-Man and Wasp that went to Civil War. It was just Ant-Man. And I don't feel like her spotlight was taken because she did great work in that. And I feel like, and my whole part is I'd love to see her do more, and I'd love to see more development of a character.
Yeah, but, you see, that's where I think the issue is. Wasp, Evangeline Lilly, not robbed of the spotlight. She was great as Wasp. I just feel as though the character of Wasp in general, on her own, is just a weak character.
Yeah.
Just the character maybe that's what's weak, and that's what's robbing her, I guess, if you want to use... I mean, I can't find a better word. I'm just trying to link it in with what my boy Lost Animation here has said. But the character of Wasp herself is weak, therefore she's going to be weak on screen because she doesn't do too much.
For me, it's kind of like the same thing that would happen with, like, War Machine.
Yeah.
So, War Machine is a cool character, and I love his design and what he stands for, but he only stands for that in connection to Iron Man. And, like, the Wasp is basically just, like, a better Ant-Man in terms of powers and stuff like that. Like, she can fly and she does all of these things. And I'm like, wait, why doesn't she ever become big?
Because as a character, there's not much you can do with Wasp.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of the Ant-Man comics is always Hank Pym was Hank Pym. And he was, it's like...
I think they can build it out. I think they can, like, over movies kind of start giving her own arc. But the thing is, like, they are interconnected. They are a couple. And if you try to separate them, it's like, okay, now are you really going to make an Ant-Man movie and a Wasp movie when they just bought, like, X-Men?
Yeah, that's a good...
Like, the thing is, the reason why we're getting all of these movies where these characters are just also in there is because people want to see more characters. People want to see the web created where this character connects to this character, connects to this character. And honestly, that's how you connect more minor characters. Like, I forgot that how much of a big part Falcon played in Ant-Man's movie. And it was great to see him, like, because I went back and I just watched Ant-Man parts of it. And then the reveal scene in Ant-Man is totally like a scene from Civil War where Falcon and Captain America have the Winter Soldier, and they're like, "What do we do?" And Falcon's like, "I know a guy."
Man, I'm actually.
And so you know, I really, and maybe that's what they do with minor characters, is they take characters and then they connect them to other characters. So maybe Wasp finds a connection with Black Widow, which I think would be hilarious because they're both bugs, or she's a spider,
no, and
plus
they're
then,
just
like,
two very different characters.
Yeah, and then maybe
cool
in the Black Widow movie, instead of pulling in Tony Stark or Thor or any of these big characters, Black Widow ends up pulling in Wasp, or pulls in.
You're literally pitching the all-female Marvel movie that everyone wants.
Or I was saying, or more accurately, pulls in Ant-Man, who brings in Wasp when Ant-Man has to deal with. I'm just talking about minor characters. Maybe she ends up bringing in War Machine, or like these other secondary characters. I don't know. War Machine has not really gotten much outside of Iron Man.
There's a lot of stuff that they can translate to if they decide to keep Tony. If Tony's still alive after Avengers 4, then there's a lot of stuff that they can do, like and if the guy that plays Don Cheadle, if he's up for it, there's a whole
the guy who plays Don Cheadle.
I was gonna say the guy that plays War Machine, but then I remembered it was Don Cheadle. But just there's a whole part in the comics where they explore Tony's PTSD and alcoholism, and then he's like, "No, I can't be Iron Man anymore." And then he goes to Rhodey, "You need to be Iron Man because I can't do it." And so Rhodey's like, "Yeah, alright, cool." And so he uses the Silver Centurion suit a lot, which is a great suit. I like that Iron Man suit. But then when Tony's ready to come back, I forgot the character's name. Don Cheadle is all War Machine. I'll just say War Machine. Yep. War Machine's all like, "No, I'm attached to these suits. I need to be Iron Man." And there's a huge conflict that arises there, which they can totally.
So kind of like what they're doing with Diggle and Arrow in the last season.
Yeah, pretty much. Arrow. So he's like, "No, I want you to take it I want to take it temporarily until I'm ready to come back." And then,
honestly,
Rhodey, that's it. And then Rhodey's like, "Yeah." And Rhodey's like, "Nah."
You know what?
That's cool, man.
That might be how they convince Robert Downey Jr. to do one more film. Is because they're like, "Okay, so here's the thing. We know you're not on contract, but we have a very different direction we want Iron Man to go in. And because he struggled with alcohol and drug abuse and stuff like that, and he's like, we would love to do PTSD where you actually character."
They tried to do that in
but like Iron Man 3, but like
it was there, but what I hated about that is that they never explored it in future films. It's just
maybe they do that. And you know, I was talking to some friends about it because there's a lot of things they can still do, but they've kind of missed the boat with Captain America. Was like they basically fish out of water Captain America for a solid 20 minutes. And then they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, he's just missing music and movies." Like that's all he's missed in the last 50 years. It's like, no. If you were well, let's go backwards. If you were sent 50 years into the past, culture and how people act and how people talk, it would take you a while to get used to that. And you'd be like, "Wait, people don't do this? Oh, people like treat people like this, people act like that." And like, "Oh, that's the world we live in." It would be more of a fish out of water. And I feel like that could have made Captain more interesting, but they're like, "Listen, we are putting together a team."
Joss Whedon did that in Avengers. There's a lot of his style in the Avengers, the first one. Yeah, that's what they take with. But I feel as though because he's working for S.H.I.E.L.D. and because he's a super spy, he has to I mean, it would be a cool dynamic to explore novelization-wise. I mean, that's a
Yeah,
I
but
get
like
that, but on screen, it doesn't make for interesting storytelling.
but I feel like it could, you know.
Look, it has
And
potential, but it needs to be done perfectly. Otherwise, it's gonna be
okay.
terrible.
Eh,
Man, we've got
guess
way off topic here.
I mean, not really. We
we're
talked
still
about
talking about Marvel.
Yeah, we're gonna end up talking about Marvel either way. So, what comes next?
What does
What
come
do
next?
you see? So, I mean, isn't the next Marvel movies Avengers 4?
No, it's Captain Marvel, but timeline-wise,
Oh.
it's Avengers 4.
Okay, so timeline-wise, I mean, that's what I care about. Like, is timeline. What comes next in the timeline?
So it's Avengers 4. Yeah.
And so Captain Marvel comes out like
Next
in
year.
February, right?
Like Black Panther time.
Yeah, black. Roughly, you know, the special time of the year.
When
You
Black
know,
Panther was
winter's coming. You know,
No,
Valentine's
no.
Day
It's
is
not
coming,
It's not winter. It's not winter. Winter Soldier is there, and and then it's Valentine's
yeah.
Day.
Oh yeah, you crazy Aussies with dealing with winter during summer. You crazy Aussies.
No, dude, it's so terrible, man. Because this morning at like 9 o'clock, it was like 8 degrees. Not even. Let's get Celsius to Fahrenheit up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is like I want to understand. I want to know. Can you show me? I want to know about these strangers like me.
Okay, so it was like 46 degrees this morning. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful weather.
No, that's freezing as all hell.
No, that I run outside in that weather.
Dude, that's like first thing in the morning, and it's like 46, and then it goes to about 20 in the middle of the day. So like you stand out, and then it goes up to like 68 in the day. This is like around 3 o'clock.
Dude, 68 is literally in my like perfect running outside temperature.
So like we're in a weird part where if you stand in shade, you are freezing because it's so cold and it hasn't seen sunlight. But if you stand in the sun, it gets way too hot because you're used to being cold. So you sort of have to have like one side one half of your body in shade and the other half in the sun.
Interesting. So anyway, back to the what
Back
comes
to Marvel
next.
movies.
I literally think they're going to quick fix Ant-Man into the world. Like he is going to be in the net. He's going to come out. Like he's going to find his way to come out of the quantum realm.
I think he was saved from the snap because he was in the quantum realm.
I mean, it doesn't really matter either way because he's
doesn't.
alive. Like no one's going to be like, "Oh, you should have been dusted." Like half the people are gone. It's
I also
interesting.
think the very end credit scene where you just see the ant playing the drums on no, it's not Guitar Hero. I looked at it. He's actually playing an electric drum kit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's even better
So
because he's
learning
trying
the
to get
drums.
that ant is going somewhere.
Yeah. So I think that ant is gonna be the biggest ex machina, and so like he's gonna go to the roof or something where they're working, and then he's just gonna like tap a button or something, and then boom, Scott's gonna come out and he'll be like, "Oh, thanks, Antonio Banderas." Like,
oh my gosh, Antonio! By the way, I love the puns. I love the puns.
Okay, the puns
I love the puns so much. And Anthony was the name of the first ant in the first one. And here's one thing that bugs me. Like when bullets are being shot into a group of ants.
Bugs. Because it's ants. I'm funny.
When bullets are being shot into the like swarm of ants, somehow they always hit the one ant he's connected to. Like that would not happen. Like there's only like 100 ants. You'd be lucky to hit one ant, not like the specific one. Like in the first movie, he shoots Anthony. Like that would not happen. And so anyway, back to that. I think he'll come back, and he's going to. Honestly, I don't know how much levity he will bring to it, but like I find it really interesting that the people that they pulled out like all the mainstays, plus like Rocket and Ant-Man and a couple others as the people who survive Kansas or Dust in the Wind. And so I really am interested in how that will all play out.
I really hope Avengers 4 opens with Hawkeye. I really do. It's him on his farm, and he's just there, and he's living the family life as he always wanted because he's retired. And then, like, he goes out to chop wood, like in Age of Ultron, and then he comes back, and then he just sees his family gets dusted. That'd be great. I
mean, they've got to do something that's how they really should introduce Hawkeye, because like all of this is happening. So the next movie will be happening like days after or within the time period, right?
See, I don't know if there's a time jump or not. Everyone's sort of speculating there's a time jump because of set photos and stuff, but I honestly have no idea.
Like, is there a beardometer? It's like, well, someone has a beard now who didn't have a beard.
It's weird because there's set photos where you see Cap in his original Captain America costume from the Avengers, but he's on set but he's standing next to Paul Rudd, and Paul Rudd's in the Ant-Man gear, and then you see Tony Stark.
So he's going to be back. That basically confirms that he's not just in the quantum realm he
fully comes out. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be like a massive Ex Machina, and he's just going to show up and hit a button and then zap him out.
I would honestly, I would really prefer. I would really prefer if Scott got himself out, because they spent so much of this movie making Scott the fall guy for everything. And they didn't do it terribly bad. Like, they didn't make it to the point where everyone's like, wow, you mess up everything. But, like, he was the fall guy for everything, and it would be good to see him actually solve a problem instead of, like, use his powers and then someone else solves the problem, because that's what happens a lot with him. And so, I mean, I'm really looking forward to his use in the next Avengers movie, because he wasn't in it, and I'd like to explore his character more and, you know, maybe start building those relationships. But the truth is, I'd like to see him build his relationships with a more minor character, so we can get talking on, you know, we can get moving on bringing him into other movies, or bringing another character into his movies or something like that. And I just, you know, I want to see that explored more. And, you know, the Captain Marvel movie is towing a very interesting line, because, like, they've kind of put themselves in a difficult situation where every character, they need to explain why they haven't been a part of everything up until this point. Like, why wasn't Captain Marvel part of any of the Avengers movies so far? Like,
you see, I feel there's an easy way to do it. She's the warrior for the Kree. The Kree just don't want her to leave, and the Kree force her to stay on the planet. That's literally the reason. There you go.
Okay. And so well, I don't know.
So she just, for this one, because she's like to Fury, look, I have to stay on Kree, but if you ever really need me, like really, really need me, here's my card. Actually, Samuel Jackson just posted some photos where, like, you see like some facial hair, you see some makeup for the eye patch, and you see Nick Fury's business card for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, but the thing is, Samuel Jackson got dusted. You know he's coming back.
No, you do realize Captain Marvel is set in the 90s?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Avengers.
No, I'm talking about Captain Marvel, the actual film.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I thought that's what you're talking about. Like, you said that they've got to be explaining how she hasn't.
Oh, yeah. I thought you jumped back when you were talking about Fury. I forgot that he's in the Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
movie.
He's a. You see his business card and everything. I just hope that there's a scene where he Captain Marvel's on Earth and he goes up to her and he's just like, "Here's my card," and then
here's my card.
And then at the
call me when you decide to get serious.
Yeah, that sort of thing. And then at the end of the movie, she comes up with the thing he uses in Infinity War, and she's just like, "Here's my card." It's like,
like here's my pager. Don't worry, this pager works across galaxy.
No, but I think there's an easy solution to that because she's a warrior of the Kree. She's literally a Kree soldier.
I thought the Kree were blue.
The Kree are blue. Yes, they are blue. She's a Kree soldier, and they just confine her to Kree. That's because that's where.
So
that's where she's from.
She's Kree, but not blue.
She's a fighter. She's like Hal Jordan. So Hal Jordan's a fighter pilot. She's a fighter pilot, and then they get sent to an alien planet, and they give them powers.
So she is not Blue Man Group, but
no. Carol Danvers is a human.
Dude, the feels, man. So I'm going back to the feels, and there is nothing in Infinity War that made me feel the feels as much as Yondu dying in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Hey, it was your father, but he ain't your daddy.
Dude, yeah,
just like oh god.
It's been oversaturated.
I don't care, you don't know me. Wait, let me do this like a real Australian. Fight me!
Oh, fight me! Dude, I swear to God, fight me. Right now.
We had this great moment in our Discord chat where like I'm like, hey, good morning, like effer, and then he's like, oh well, F you, blah blah blah, and I'm like, wait a second, are you actually angry or just Australian? He's like, dude, just Australian. I'm like, right.
It's great.
It's like, cause like there's such a difference in like, I don't know, I just don't talk like that, and that's why I hate text. I hate text chat. I hate all of these things because like I speak with a lot of inflection, and sometimes like I explain things in an odd way to be entertaining, and people have like, oh, you have a really funny way of saying this thing or that thing, and I'm like, yeah, why do you think I hate chat? Because everyone's like, what the oh, so you mean this? I'm like, no, I do not. So, I just...
Oh,
man, okay, so...
Well, I don't know about you.
Other topics.
Yeah,
other topics?
I don't know about you, but I think that about sort of wraps it up, if I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
We talked about the Wasp. We didn't have anything else planned, so I think we're cool.
What's coming up in the next week that we should talk about?
Next week is, well, if we stick in the same time next week, that's literally a day before Comic-Con. Before Comic-Con
Oh yeah,
starts.
we could do like a pre-Comic-Con,
extravaganza,
what information, what we think will happen,
and then the week after we'll do a massive big post-Comic-Con let's talk all the trailers, boys.
Okay, well that's what we'll be
just
doing.
to quickly throw it out there, Kevin Feige has confirmed that Avengers 4 is now being edited.
Oh boy!
So its full reshoots have finished. All the extra stuff they wanted to added is finished. Principal photography's been finished for ages, but it's now fully hitted. It's now fully in the editing booth.
As much crap as I give the Marvel MCU for having a very Marvel, like they have a feeling on all of their movies.
Oh yeah.
Can we just sit and appreciate how little things get screwed up with, oh yeah, and then we lost this director, and then blah blah blah, and then we have to reshoot everything, and like that happens.
Justice League. Oh, sorry, just
no, but it's not even just Justice League. It happens in Star Wars. It happens in all of these big budget movies, and it just doesn't happen.
Sorry, I was gonna say it didn't happen in Star Wars, but like Solo.
Yeah, and like
apparently Ron Howard reshot 70% of what they already had.
There was so many things that been like big budget things that go like that, because
Ant-Man,
they're like,
literally
there's a
Ant-Man.
lot writing.
Literally
But
Ant-Man,
that's
because
like the
Edgar
only
Wright.
thing that happened. But like we talk about how like the percentage of times that happens with big budget films and how big budget all of the like Marvel films are, and you're like, dude, it doesn't happen with Marvel. Like the last time it happened was first Ant-Man, which was how long ago?
Yeah,
Like
2015. But
four,
the reason,
3 years.
well, that's been in production, writing, pre-production. It's been in since like Iron Man was released, so it's been years.
Yeah, yeah. And so like I just want to sit in cuz I crap on the MCU a lot about always feeling the same. And I want to just put it out there that I really appreciate that they got their, crap together because like it's really frustrating when I'm just like, okay, I want to see this movie. Oh, and this thing happened. And Ben Affleck's no longer directing. Ben Affleck doesn't want to be Batman. They are rewriting the movie. This is happening. This is happening. This is happening. This is happening. And I'm just like, could you just not?
Oh man. Well, anyway, thanks for tuning in to the late morning, everyone. Hope you had
Join
a good
us
time.
next week
Join
for
us
the
next week
Comic-Con.
for our big Comic-Con extravaganza. I also appreciate you sticking with us through all the technical difficulties on my side. But yeah, everyone, have a good day.
See ya.